Jai Shri Gurudev. Very good morning, my dear students. Welcome to 10th Standard Science online classes. Dear students, in our surroundings, we will be observe so many kinds of things. So in that, we will be differentiate that will be living things and non-living things. So, based on the some phenomena that we can easily classify that things as living things and non-living things. So, how we can easily identify either any one thing or any one organism that is living or not? Yes. So, basically, first we will be observe the rate of breathing, and then how the metabolic activities that will be held in that any one organism, like biological activities like movement, then the growth. So these are all we can easily generalize that any one organism that is living or not. Is it right now, children? Yes. So these activities only what we call it as life process. So basically, in general, there are five types of different kinds of life process activities that we will be identified in each and every living organism. Either it is microorganism and as well as macroorganisms. Which are those? So which are the five life process activities that will be held in each and every living organism? Yes, children. So, these are all the concepts that we are going to discuss in today's class. In the lesson, life process. It is the first lesson of biology 10th, part 1. So, here in the life process lesson, approximately you will be get 7 marks in your examination, annual examination. So here you are going to know the different kinds of diagrams and as well as different kinds of topics also you are going to identify in this lesson. So these are all the concepts that we are going to discuss in today's class. Yes, dear children, I hope you are observing some pictures on your screen. The body is flying, the fish is moving, and some other organisms that will be showing different characteristics. So even in the fish of fifth diagram or the fifth picture, that is showing respiration. So these we can say that either that living organism is living or not. We can easily generalize. Right now, student? Yes, here we can easily identify that the most important criteria to decide whether something is alive is movement. So that movement is showing any one organism. So that we can easily generalize that organism is survival or that organism is living. So not only the movement, all the living things move without the help of any external help. So some of the organisms that we will be move, if you take the human beings, by the help of the legs he can able to move from one place to other place. Same like that only if you take the fish, how the movement will be takes place in the fish? Yes, by the help of fins. Right now, children. So which means some organisms there will be movement will be takes place by the help of the internal body's designs, and some of them move without the help of external help, which means any internal body design. So either it is a body movements or any organisms, so that will be helps or that will be takes place because of movement of tissues or movement of cells that will be takes place in each and every living organism. So basically there are majorly life process activities will be takes place. Already we know that the five life process activities. So that is nutrition, respiration, transportation, excretion, and the last one is reproduction. So these the five major life process activities that will be held in each and every living organism. So here already we are discussing about the different types of life process activities. So what do you mean by life process? We have to know that meaning of life process right now. Yes. So life process is nothing but it is a basic process. It is a basic process that is involved or takes place in each and every living organism which are necessary for maintaining their life. This is what we call it as life process. So what do you mean by life process? So life process are the basic process in each and every living organism, so which is necessary for maintaining their life. So this is what we call it as life process. So basically five life process activities that will be held in each and every living organism. Which are those? Yes. So that is nutrition, respiration, transportation, excretion, and last one is reproduction. These are all the major five life process activities that will be held in each and every living organism. So what do you mean by nutrition? And what do you mean by respiration? And how it will be helpful to us? What do you mean by transportation, and what are the importance of transportation in our body and in other living organisms? So meaning of excretion and their importance, meaning of reproduction and their importance. These are all the concepts that we are going to discuss in the lesson life process. So here the first one life process activity, that is we call it as nutrition. What do you mean by nutrition? So here what major resources, whatever the things that we will be actively involved here. So basically if you come to the nutrition process, the food will be play a major role. Right now, whatever we will be consume the food, that will be gives us energy to do the various works. Is it right? So without the food, our body doesn't get the sufficient amount of energy to do the various works. Right now, children? Yes. So that's why we can say that the nutrition is a process of taking of food by an organism and it is utilized by the body for the growth and the development. This is what we call it as nutrition. Whatever we will be consume the food, whatever the any one living organism, if you take the tree also requires food. Amoeba is also requires food, that is a microorganism. The virus is also requires the food for their growth and development right now. Yes. So this we can say that is we call it as nutrition. So nutrition is nothing but nutrition is a process of intaking of the food and that is utilized by any organism for their growth and development. That is utilized by the body of life process. This is what we call it as. Yes, this is what we call it as. Your assumption is right. That is, we call it as nutrition. Understand? So next life process activity, that is we call it as respiration. Dear children, already we have a brief knowledge about the respiration. So we inhale the oxygen and exhale the toxic gas called carbon dioxide. For what purpose our body needs oxygen? Yes. So our body requires oxygen for the purpose of breakdown of glucose in our body. So whatever we will be consume the food that is consisting of rich amount of glucose after the digestion. So that glucose is a reserve food to provide energy to us. But one thing, that glucose doesn't directly produce energy to our body. If our body gets energy means in our body internally various metabolic activities and chemical reactions that will be takes place. In that basically the breakdown of glucose is also a major source or the metabolic activity that will be held in our body that only responsible for production of energy. So most probably in our human body the mitochondria is powerhouse is also called as powerhouse of the cell. Why? Because this mitochondria is only responsible for breakdown of glucose in our body and produces energy, that is in the form of ATP, adenosine triphosphate. So this is about the brief information regarding the respiration. See here, the respiration is nothing but it is a process by which food is burned in the cells of the body with the help of oxygen and releases energy. And it is releases energy. That released energy will be utilized in our body for various metabolic activities. These are the second life process activity. This is respiration. And the third one is transportation. Here basically we will be identifying human's heart will be play a major role at the time of transportation of food. See, already we know that each and every cell present in our body requires oxygen and also food, water, and whatever the waste substances that is released in the cell, that transportation or movement will be takes place by the help of a special tissues or special cells. That cells only will be actively involved in the process of transportation. So meaning of transportation is the process by which food, oxygen, water and nitrogenous waste products that is released in our body are carried from one part of the body to other part of the body. This phenomenon we call it as transportation. So what do you mean by transportation? The process by which food, oxygen, water, waste, nitrogenous waste substances carried out from one place to another place. This phenomenon what we call it as transportation. Hope you understand, children. Yes. So we move on to the next life process, that is we call it as excretion. Excretion is nothing but here excretory system will be actively involved in this process. In the excretory system or excretion, whatever the undigested food and other toxic substances are there, that elimination will be takes place in our body by the process we call it as excretion. So here the process by which waste products are removed from the body, this is what we call it as excretion. So in the our body will be excretes the waste substances in various forms that we will be discussed later, children. So last life process activity what we call it as reproduction. So reproduction is nothing but giving birth to the young ones. Giving birth to the young ones. This is we call it as reproduction. So these are all the 5 major life process activities that will be held in each and every living organism. So let us discuss the first one, nutrition. Dear children, already we know that the meaning of nutrition. So here The nutrition is nothing but it is a process of taking food by an organism, and it is utilized by the body to for the growth and development and to repair the damaged parts of a body and various metabolic activities. Here we will be identify there are two types of the nutritions that will be held. First one is autotrophic nutrition and heterotrophic nutrition. So autotrophic nutrition is nothing but the organisms that has a capacity to prepare their own food by the help of photosynthesis. This is we call it as autotrophs. So autotrophs is nothing but it is a kind of nutrition in which organism prepare their own food from simple inorganic substances. So what are the inorganic substances that will be plants utilizes at the time of the photosynthesis? So that is carbon dioxide, water, sunlight and other minerals that is absorbed by the roots and prepares their own food. This phenomenon what we call it as autotrophic nutrition. So simple words in autotrophic nutrition is nothing but the organism that has a capacity to prepare their own food by the process of photosynthesis is we call it as autotrophic nutrition. The best example for the autotrophic nutrition is all the green plants. All the green plants will becomes under the autotrophic mode of nutrition. Hope you understand children. And not only the green plants, some of the bacteria is also comes under this group that is autotrophic mode of nutrition. All the green plants and some bacteria that will be comes under autotrophic nutrition and they has the capacity to prepare their own food by the process of photosynthesis. So here in the process of photosynthesis there are the majorly 3 to 4 steps that is actively involved. That process of photosynthesis that we will be discussed later. And the next type of the nutrition is heterotrophic nutrition. So heterotrophic nutrition is nothing but the organism which do not have a capacity to prepare their own food. So which means they do not have a capacity to prepare their own food and they are directly or indirectly depend on the plants only for their food purpose. So this we call it as heterotrophic mode of nutrition. So here best example for the heterotrophic mode of nutrition is all the animals, all the non-green organisms, animals, human beings, fungi and some other bacteria is also comes under heterotrophic mode of nutrition. So what is the difference between autotrophs and heterotrophs? See children, the autotrophs is nothing but that organism has a capacity to prepare their own food by the help of photosynthesis. This is what we call it as autotrophic mode of nutrition. And the second one is heterotrophic mode of nutrition. So that organism that does not has a capacity to prepare their own food. So they will be directly or indirectly depend on the other organisms. So this we call it as heterotrophic mode of nutrition. See children, in heterotrophic mode of nutrition we will be identify the different types. That is saprophytic, parasitic and holozoic nutrition. So what do you mean by saprophytic nutrition and what do you mean by parasitic nutrition and holozoic nutrition and how it will be takes place? In which type of organism they will be adopted the saprophytic type of nutrition and parasitic mode of nutrition. These are all the concepts that we are going to discuss now in this session. See children, so saprophytic mode of nutrition is nothing but it is a kind of nutrition in which organisms get their food from dead and decaying organisms. So saprophytic is nothing but that it is a saprophytic type of organisms will be there. Best example for the saprophytic is mushroom, bread mold, yeast, and some of the bacteria are the best example for saprophytic mode of nutrition, children. So saprophytic is nothing but these kind of organisms. Do you know where the mushrooms will be grown up? Yes, where the moisture and dead and decaying organisms is available in more in number. In that reason only we will be identify the mushroom. Right now, students. So this we can say that mushroom is the best example for which type of nutrition? Yes, the mushroom is the best example for saprophytic mode of nutrition. Why? Because this mushroom will be grown up in the particular area where the dead and decaying organisms is available. This is the best example for saprophytic mode of nutrition. The best example for the saprophytic mode of nutrition is mushroom, bread mold, yeast, and some other bacteria is also comes under this group. And the next type of heterotrophic mode of nutrition is parasite. Here, it is a kind of a nutrition in which organisms get their food from living organism without killing them. For example, virus is a kind of a parasitic mode of nutrition only. Why? Because the virus is requires any host cell for their growth and development. So ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಹದಲ್ಲೇ ಇರುವಂತಹ ಆಹಾರವನ್ನು ನಾವು ಏನು ತಿಂತೀವಿ ಅದನ್ನು ಕನ್ಸ್ಯೂಮ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಗ್ರೋತ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. That is, we call it as parasitic mode of nutrition. The best one is example for the parasitic mode of nutrition is Cuscuta. It is a kind of a plant. And leech. So leech is one kind of organism that will be consumes the blood of our human body and other organisms. And then roundworm, tapeworm, plasmodium. These are all the kinds of bacteria and some other viruses that will be or organisms that will be adopted. What kind of mode of nutrition? Parasitic mode of nutrition. So parasitic mode of nutrition is nothing but the nutrition in which organisms get the food by the help of host cell without killing them. This is, we call it as parasitic mode of nutrition. And the next last type of the heterotrophic mode of nutrition is holozoic. So holozoic nutrition is nothing but in which organisms take the food directly and then digest and absorb it. This is, we call it as holozoic mode of nutrition. So whatever it means, so that organisms, so if you take the saprophytic mode of nutrition, they will be get the nutrients and food from the dead and decaying organisms. Right? No. So parasitic means it will be requires any one living organism or any host for their survival. So holozoic nutrition is nothing but in which organisms takes the food directly and absorb it. The best example for holozoic nutrition is amoeba, paramecium, fish, human beings also. Human beings will be consumed directly food into our body. Right now. So after the direct consuming of food, our body will be undergoes the digestion. So these are different types of heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Dear children, I hope you understand these are all the concepts very well. So if you have any doubts regarding this topic, you can directly contact me or drop a WhatsApp message. So in the next class also we are going to discuss about more information about the life process activities. So up to that time, must be watch this video again and again and clarify all your doubts. So once again, I wish you good luck for your next new academic process. And please stay home, stay healthy and be safe. Thank you. Jai Shri Gurudev. Have a nice day, children.